Journey, 98.7 WFGR, and Separate Ways. It's 8:16. Andy Dave Cagalé, who is staring intently at his computer. Either he's having a chat with somebody or he's looking up news stories.
I'm efforting news, sports, and of course we got Less Than News coming up in about 45 minutes. I'm always on the ball.
You're breaking a sweat, is what you're doing.
It's,
you poor man.
And keep in mind, I did suffer a car accident earlier.
A near fatal.
Could have been. If that semi would have hit me, I would not be here.
Yeah, but then again, you're in a Sunfire. I mean, let's face it. There's no safer car on the road.
Because that's what I said.
Than a Sunfire
it's
with
like driving
bald tires.
a tank. Yeah. They have bald tires. They're
It's got
fine.
bald tires.
No, it doesn't.
Gary Ball from the Epilepsy Foundation in Michigan just walked in. He said, "Dude, I looked at your car. Your tires are bald."
No, they're not.
And then he said, "You have a 3-year-old? How dare you drive around like that?"
Oh, God, you're an idiot.
That's what he was saying.
No.
He just whispered it to me. That was kind of the quiet version. Sorry, Gary, I didn't mean to pull you into that.
Yeah,
no, that's fine.
He's
that's
like,
fine.
just keep
that's
me
fine.
out of it.
Can you get up a little close? There you go.
I can do that.
It feels weird. I noticed it there. Well, Gary Ball, I got to tell you what. I met Gary Ball this last hockey season out in Muskegon. They had a display put up out there at the Lumberjacks game about epilepsy.
Yeah.
And the Epilepsy Foundation in Michigan. And I came to realize that I don't know a whole lot about epilepsy.
See, I actually do know a little bit because my brother-in-law suffers from epilepsy. He actually didn't even know he had it. This happened 1984. The day he married my sister, had a grand mal seizure on his honeymoon.
God.
So, and evidently that was the result of some head injury he'd had. I want to say 10 to 12 years earlier.
No kidding.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's
Not uncommon.
Gary, tell us how. Give us the nuts and bolts of epilepsy. Is this something that you're born with? Again, is it an injury? How does it affect people at first?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the short answer. Now, epilepsy, basically, it's a neurological disorder in the brain.
Okay.
It's an electrical short circuit
Right.
that causes seizures. Now, you can have a seizure and not have epilepsy. By definition, epilepsy is 2 or more unprovoked seizures.
So
in
just
your
out of the
lifetime.
blue, you have a
Out
seizure.
of the blue.
And if somebody sees a seizure, what are they looking at?
Wow, that's a good question because most of us think of when you see a seizure, it's what's known as the tonic-clonic. That's where you're on the ground, you're jerking and uncontrolled. That is one type, but there are 40 different varieties, if you will,
Of seizures.
of seizures of epilepsy. It can go from that extreme all the way to what's known as an absent, or we call it here in Michigan an absence seizure.
Okay.
And that is staring off into space for about 5 seconds. It's some of those where you hear the child in school that he just checks out, or with senior adults, mom just checks out for a few seconds and comes back. Potential that is a seizure. It can be caused by head trauma. You can be born with it. 70% of the population who have epilepsy don't even know where it came from.
No
or why.
kidding.
Yeah.
How do they go about diagnosing this? I mean, when they first see a sign like that, what are the processes that people have to go through?
Processes going through that. You can't just look and say it's epilepsy. They will go in and do EEGs.
Yep.
And a lot of times what they'll want to do is what's known as a sleep EEG, which is the opposite of what it sounds like. They actually keep you awake for hours so that when you do go in and they put all the electrodes and so forth on your head, that you go to sleep, and then they watch the patterns. They want to do anything they can to invoke a seizure. That's one of those times when you want to have one to prove that you've...
One of those times when the word doctor's practice comes in.
Yes.
Not perfection. They call it a practice.
Yes.
Right. But it is diagnosed through EEGs.
Yeah.
Primarily.
And what is the average age of people that are diagnosed with epilepsy?
Birth to death.
Really? It can come anytime.
It can come anytime. A lot of times young children will grow. You often hear of them growing out of it. In fact, my daughter has
Is that
epilepsy.
how you got involved?
That's how I got involved. My daughter had her first seizure when she was 10 months old. We were told that there was a possibility that she would grow out of it. I learned, by the way, that once they hit over 29, that's where you end the limit. But we've been dealing with this for quite a while with my daughter. She's never outgrown it, never will.
Really?
But she's been seizure free now for 21 months.
Okay.
Through medication.
Yeah.
And that's the most prevalent way that it's treated. But in Grand Rapids now, I'm kind of proud of this, guys. You'll find this out. There are 100 what are known as level 4 epilepsy centers in the United States.
Okay.
Where they're allowed to do the best research, the most invasive brain surgery. to be able to control these. There are 100 of those in the United States. We have 2 of them here in Grand
No
Rapids.
kidding.
Wow. Now, when is the situation where brain surgery, which would be obviously huge deal, where what type of epilepsy would you have to where that would be a situation that you would consider?
That it has to be one that where it is they can find out where the trigger point is.
Right.
In the case of my daughter, the neurologist walked out when she was about 3 of the EEG and said she's not a candidate for surgery. We stopped counting at 127 different trigger points on both sides of the brain.
Wow.
Now, there is a young man here in Grand Rapids that I know that they found the focal point, U of M, and they went in and did the surgery. It's about a 4-month process that they go through, all the extensive tests, and they have to narrow it down as to where
Right.
it is to take that out. And they ended up taking out a section of his brain about the size of a pimple on your nose. And he then was seizure-free after that.
That was that.
That's
How about that?
And that's been about 20 months that
No
he's
kidding.
been seizure-free.
So your daughter, she's how old is she now?
Over 30.
She's over. Yeah, you got to be careful with
the
that.
yeah,
Right.
that's the best I can do for you.
Yeah.
And she's been dealing with this her whole life. Now, is this
Right.
something that's passed down generation to generation?
No.
No?
It can be
Yeah.
hereditary,
Yeah.
but typically it's not.
Okay.
And it's not contagious.
Okay.
You
Has
know.
she got kids of her own?
No.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
married.
No. Okay. Dave.
And that's part of what
Hey,
you're.
Dave. Hear that? Not married.
Always trying to marry me off.
I'm just saying, I'm looking out for you here, pal.
I appreciate that.
Seems like a nice girl. She comes from a nice family. I mean, seriously, you might want to get her number before he leaves.
Yeah,
All right.
and you did meet her.
I did.
So, yes.
Yeah, out there
she
at the
was,
hockey
she
game.
was at the hockey game.
Yep.
So, yep.
Yep. So there you go. We'll get
We have to give him
sweet.
driving lessons.
make
first.
sure she's got lots of money because he can't pay for dates. But
Yeah, well.
Well, here's the thing. I had a car accident back in 1991 where I actually had a seizure when they were taking me out of the car before they put me in the AM. Now I've never been diagnosed with epilepsy, never had a seizure since then. So, but it goes to what you were saying. You can have a seizure, not be epileptic.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of stuff do you have coming up over the course of? I would imagine that you've got a fundraiser or two to further the work.
Yeah, we're not one of the most highly funded nor most talked about, best known.
Well, that's
out
why
there,
you're here.
Of the foundations. A little bit. The Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan. We are the only foundation that covers the entire state that focuses on epilepsy. Now, my office is here in Grand Rapids, but we do several fundraisers. The biggest couple that we have in West Michigan coming up, we do have a summer stroll.
Okay.
That's our largest fundraiser. We do 4 of them in Michigan. We just finished Midland a couple of weeks ago. We have Detroit, Kalamazoo, and then Grand Rapids ends it on June 15th.
Are you sure it's not in Detroit? It's not the summer sprint.
Well,
You might need to run in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a rough neighborhood.
It's kind of outside of Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, they really. It's kind of animalistic because they do it at the zoo.
Oh, that's a cool place
Yeah.
to do a walk. I
That
mean,
is
yeah,
a
that's really
really
cool.
cool place to do a walk. We do ours. Ours is a nice leisurely stroll along the river walk.
Okay.
We start at 6th Street Bridge Park, and we'll walk down and cross the bridge and go over to the Ford Museum and back up the other side.
Oh, fun.
And then walk back across the 6th Street Bridge, which I'm glad we don't have the waters, because that would be a little scary trying to get across 6th
like
Street
a couple
Bridge.
of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago.
When is this coming up again?
June 15th.
Okay.
And registration and so forth online, epilepsymichigan.org. We'd love to have teams. We'll take teams. We'll take individuals. We'll take corporate teams. We give prizes out for the biggest group.
Cool.
We give prizes out for the best dressed.
Oh, nice.
We had... Now, you guys,
Take a
I
look
was
at
gonna
me.
say, well, I am. No, you
that'll work.
break out
I
the
don't-
jean shorts and the NASCAR T-shirts, and you're in like Flynn, my friend.
we had a young group show up here a couple of years ago. You guys will appreciate this. Lady Gaga and her entourage showed up.
Really?
Yes.
Was she dressed in meat?
I'm not going there.
Oh man.
Excuse me, ma'am. We'd like you to do our walk, but could you take the meat off, please? EpilepsyMichigan.org. Is that what you said?
EpilepsyMichigan.org.
Excellent. How about down the line after the walk?
Down the line
anything
after
else?
the walk, the week after that, we have our 7th annual Paul New Memorial Golf Classic.
Oh, fun.
Paul New was a young man who absolutely loved life, loved driving fast cars, loved playing golf, passed away from epilepsy.
No kidding.
And it's not uncommon. We lose way too many people to epilepsy.
People don't think of this as a fatal, potentially fatal illness.
Not even.
Now,
they
what
don't.
can cause? I mean, what causes the fatalities in someone with epilepsy?
A lot of times what will happen is they will go into a seizure. There's something called a status epilepticus. In other words, you go from one seizure to another without stopping.
Oh, wow.
And unless you can get that under control, that can kill you. Oftentimes you'll find in a lot of cases, and I hear this quite a bit, that somebody is in the shower, they have a seizure, they fall, they hit their head, and they're done.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So Paul loved play golf, and so they figured the best way to honor his memory was to start a golf outing.
Sure.
And
Where's it going to be?
at Railside
I've never been
Golf
there.
Course. I just talked to a friend of mine that did it last year for the first time, and he said, I'm in because we don't get a chance to play that kind of course very often.
Oh, nice place then.
It's a nice place, Railside Golf Course. If you get the hole-in-one on the golf course, then you get to drive an Infinity for a year for free.
Oh, nice.
Better go sign up to
Hey,
golf.
and it will have new tires on it.
I was going to
Nice. Gary, we appreciate you coming in, giving us a little education here about epilepsy and the causes and stuff. We'll put all this online as well. So if you're looking for more information, you want to be a part of the walk or the golf outing or any of that kind of stuff, you'll find the link at WFGR.com. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Good luck on all your future fundraisers, and our best to your daughter. We kid a little bit with Dave. I wouldn't set her up with him.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me now? Now, first there was...
You need to ask.
whatever.
I'm not telling you.
Fine.
Gary, thanks for coming in. EpilepsyMichigan.org.
Let's come drink